Today we stand here for one reason and one reason only: to send a message loud and clear to our members of Congress as they prepare to go back to Washington, D.C. in just a few days. It's time to get the job done. Are you with me? Let me hear you say it. Let's get it done. Now I'd ask you to lower your signs in tribute to a man who spends his life's work dedicated to this cause. I'd like to introduce a woman who worked closely with United States Senator Ted Kennedy. This is Megan Ullman.
I was fortunate to work for Senator Kennedy during the last 15 years, from when I was a college intern in Washington to when I was on the senior staff of the Democratic National Convention in Boston, which he worked tirelessly to bring to that city. Everyone knew Senator Kennedy's public persona, but those of us had the honor of working for him saw and were nurtured by the side that you've been hearing about in the media this week. The diligent care of his constituents, the endless commitment to the poor, the humor, dignity, and grace he brought to his position's challenges. I was privileged to know the senator, to learn from his brilliant staff, and to be inspired by his example. A colleague of mine summed up a feeling that all of us, thousands in numbers, former staff and interns, campaign workers, and volunteers felt, that he was a giant on whose shoulders we all stood. And he always said the Kennedy creed was, to whom much is given, much is expected. We knew that in the opportunity to work for him, much was being given to us. We tried relentlessly to live up to that. Senator, I hope I've made you proud. I will continue to do all I can to make you proud. I've been asked by many people why I'm not in Boston right now, and it comes down to this. 2 years ago, I had a high-risk pregnancy. I had to quit my job. We lost our employer-based health insurance and are still paying those bills. We are still paying for our own insurance. So I couldn't afford to fly home. But I'm proud to be here today with all of you, and I'm proud to be part of the push for healthcare reform I once worked for in his office. And to be with you as we say goodbye and we say thank you. So please join me for a moment of silence to Senator Kennedy. Thank you very much.
On the brink of something historic, and change is always hard. It's what the President said when he was running for office, when he came here to Milwaukee and campaigned around the state, and it's true. But because of all of you here tonight, we have hope. And because of thousands and thousands and thousands of like you across this country, we are going to get it done. We are going to get health insurance reform passed in 2009, and I want to talk a little bit about that. But first, as Dan said, my name is Jeremy Bird. I'm the National Deputy Director. I work in Washington. Don't hold it against me. But I have the pleasure of working with a great man who fights every single day for health insurance reform. And I want to introduce you to Bruce Colburn, who runs the SEIU program nationally on healthcare. So give it over to Bruce for a second. Thank you, Bruce.
All right, good afternoon. Today, we buried our healthcare champion, Ted Kennedy. Tonight, we remember his lifelong ambition of healthcare, a cause, a fight, a cause of a lifetime. Tonight, we say, in our proudest tradition, don't mourn, it's time to organize! Yeah. ancestors have been fighting for health care for all. Roosevelt, Truman, fighting Bob LaFollette. Some of you might remember him. Our union, many of you out there, put everything that we had to give into the election of Barack Obama. It was that important, and now it's our moment. This is the Super Bowl of that fight for change, our battle for the future of this country. And in some ways, it's more important to the Super Bowl because the Super Bowl comes every year. For most of us, and when we think to ourselves, and we go home at night and we think to ourselves, we will never be in a more important fight, and we may never have another chance in our lifetime again to do this. I've been in the movement for 40 years, and I know this is my chance. Is this your chance? But there's something more than that. The future of the entire Barack Obama agenda for change in this country is at stake in this healthcare reform insurance fight. Let me be perfectly clear, clearer than that. If we lose healthcare, that agenda is crippled. And I don't care if you're fighting for workers' rights, you're fighting for the environment, you're fighting for immigration rights, you're fighting for economic justice. All that change goes through the healthcare reform, and we have to win this fight. So when we leave here tonight, when we go back to our communities, united in action, determined that we will not let a bunch of politicians like Mitch McConnell and yes, Chuck Grassley from Iowa, and never let a bunch of right-wing fanatics take this moment of change from the American people. So tonight we remember Senator Kennedy, but more than that, the 18,000 people who died at the hands of insurance companies because they don't have good insurance. In the next week, all across the country, Jeremy talked about hundreds of thousands of people coming out for health care today. In Fargo, North Dakota, 1,000 people at the front step of Ken Conrad in North Dakota, 1,000 people coming out to say, go back to Congress and get this bill passed. So tonight, we promise to take our message and the fight to every American and to stand up every single day, every day, until that day later this year when Barack Obama goes to the White House and signs into a law the bill that gives health care for all Americans, every man, woman, and child.